Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your August 2017 mid-month readings. I am getting the last of these. This is for Virgo, and it is the last of the mid-month readings. I'm getting them out a day or two or so a little later than I normally would, but I just got back from a whirlwind surprise birthday tour, 8 or 9 days it was, to Morocco, and couldn't really post while I was gone. One, because my companion partner didn't want me to work so much since I work so much. And two, because internet connection was so really bad throughout that part of Africa. Even in some of the unique little places we stayed at on the tour, it said we had internet access, but you couldn't really do anything on the internet. So it was a fabulous place, fabulous people, culture, food, traditions, extraordinary eye-opening experience. I am back in Poland, which feels very cool to me right now because I have traveled to some hot countries in my life, hot and humid, a lot of countries, but I've never experienced heat like Morocco before in my life. It's enough to fry the top of your head right off. But it was a wonderful experience. So that's why these are probably just a day or two later than I normally would post. So anyway, thank you for your patience. Thank you always for your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your support, feedback, and comments. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you for those of you who continue to reach out for personal one-on-one readings, because I continue to do them from whatever corner of the world I happen to be traveling in at the time, because I do like to travel quite a bit, even though my home base is still California, Northern California. And thank you to my regular clients as well. And if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading and you've never read with me before, you can click on you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on the little about or description button, which will give you a little more information, and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do a wide variety of different types of readings. And I do readings full time. I read 5 or 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. It is what I do. So turnaround time is usually pretty quick. I can usually get back with you within the first day of your contact with an information. And schedule time for a reading, live or recorded, is anywhere between a few days, upwards of 2 weeks, but almost always within a 2-week period of time we can set up something for you live or recorded. So if you're interested, email me. We'll go from there. Make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well. As you all know, these are general readings, and you're probably all tired of hearing us say that, but we kind of have to preface it. They're general readings, and there's thousands of you watching, so of course they're not going to mean the same to the same degree and intensity for everyone watching. For some of you, it may resonate quite predictably in the love romance area of your life, friendships, family. Some of you, it's work, job, career. Some of you, your rising and your moon signs may resonate or play out for you more predictably than your sun sign at some different times in some readings. I believe ultimately that out of the majority of the people that watch the videos, those who are meant to hear what helpful messages they are meant to hear will hear them. While you can read and interpret the cards according to their definition and the context of surrounding cards, anyone can really learn to do that. And it's about channeling, and hopefully I have tried to keep myself open in honor and integrity as I've worked to hone the gifts I've been given throughout the year for the greater good of all, which is what I am a part of, and don't really want to be a part of anything else. So try to watch your sun. That was kind of a rant I just went on. Try to watch your sun, your rising, and your moon sign if you know them and if you can. So enough blathering. We're at 4 minutes already. I know some of you get tired of the long intros. You're welcome to fast forward through it for those of you who are not new. So moving right along, this reading is for Virgo, the earth sign of Virgo, for August 2017. We're looking at the last 2 weeks of August, so I'll be pulling 2 cards for each remaining week with an additional 5th card from the bottom of the deck for overall guidance and energy. So Virgo, August mid-month 2017. We have 7 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, the 6 of Cups, and the 6 of Pentacles. From the bottom of the deck, your overall energy guidance is the Devil. Okay, interesting. We have 2 7s here, 7 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, and 2 6s, 6 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles. Sevens can represent sometimes conflict or reflection and assessment of something. Sixes usually represent reciprocity, give and take, tit for tat kind of energy. And it's interesting too because for some of you out there, for a smaller portion of you, this may resonate as more of a almost an esoteric spiritual kind of situation that you're involved in. Others, this may be a bit more concrete and tangible, and you may be dealing with it or wanting to go about dealing with it in a more tangible, upfront sort of way. There is, for some of you, kind of a message on paying something forward in a positive way in spite of maybe feeling like you're being or you have been taken advantage of in some way. So we begin with the Seven of Swords, followed by the Seven of Pentacles. So seven's a reflection, assessment, which is what the Seven of Pentacles is, consideration, motives. They can sometimes be a particular type of conflict. Swords is air energy, which is the element which governs the suit of swords. It's a mental, cerebral, intellectual energy, and it really manifests in things that around things that go on in our heads, our words and our ideas, and how that affects how we communicate with the world, the people in the world, everything external from us. Swords is about how we look at things, what we think of things, our belief systems and outlooks, and how that affects the way that we communicate. Swords is also about truth, illumination, insight, clarity, education, higher education, and learning as well. It's all about this cerebral, mental, intellectual stuff that goes on up in here. So the Seven of Swords, often referred to as the Thief card because of how the artwork is on a lot of tarot decks, and in the Gilded Tarot, which I use by artist Ciro Marchetti for the generals. I love his artwork. It's a card that obviously denotes some kind of theft, deception, slipperiness. The Seven of Swords can represent being stolen from in an actual tangible way, like money, property, resources. It can represent in a relationship sense, it can represent being in a relationship where you're the one constantly giving and giving, or the other person is giving and giving, and someone is constantly taking without giving a commensurate amount in return. And so it leaves you or the other person at the end really feeling kind of drained, depleted, exploited, taken advantage of. It can represent a person or situation or a combination of both being presented to be one thing, but it in fact is something else because there is kind of an aura of deception. The Thief card, the Seven of Swords, sometimes gets a bad rap though, because it can also represent needing to be secretive or needing to think outside the box or go off the grid in how you do something, maybe planning something or thinking about doing something and needing to keep it close to your chest, not telling other people about it, or being creative and unorthodox in the methods that you use to go about getting something accomplished. It's not always a negative. No card is truly one thing or the other. And it's never a standalone. It's always in context too. So it's interesting because I'm getting a variety of different stories here on how this is going to relate and what area of it's going to relate in. And for some of you Virgos, this is going to be in job, work, career. For some of you, this is going to be in spirituality or even in the ethical consideration part of your life. Others of you, this may be just relationships, love and romance relationships, or another type of relationships. I'm getting that some of you, it's almost a philanthropic sort of thing. You're considering trying to help someone in need, or a family in need of some kind, or a family that has fallen a ways, maybe we're successful and are falling on hard times or are in dire straits. There's a real sense of imbalance. It could be, I feel like it's maybe not just in a financial or monetary sense, but it could be an emotional way, or a dysfunctional family where there's a lot of imbalance, and you're actually on the outside looking in, but you want to do something, and you're kind of thinking of maybe ways that you could do something anonymously or in an unorthodox fashion that's actually quite helpful or quite useful. That's such a specific message for someone out there. So some of you, that's what the Seven of Swords energy is going to represent. Some of you may be in the middle of a situation, a relationship, and it could be varying different types of relationship. It could be a love and romance type of relationship. It could be a friendship or a family dynamic kind of relationship. This could even be a situation at work, a relationship with a colleague, or just your relationship with your job, the work atmosphere in and of itself. And I feel like there's a lot of imbalance going on. Your overall card is the Devil, which represents significant, profound imbalance. It can represent unhealthy relationships, addictions, strong temptations, basically the scales being out of whack. Too much attention to focus in one area to the detriment and exclusion of others. That's kind of overall energy over this situation for a lot of you. So there's a sense of trying to, what can I do to bring balance back to this? And some of you, I've been in this for a long time, this job or this relationship or whatever this is. It could even be a way of life or a belief system, a way you have of looking, a way you have at responding or operating in the world. Because again, I'm getting for a smaller portion of you that this is actually not, this is more of an ethical, spiritual, esoteric kind of issue. How it relates to those of you is going to be different. Some Virgos, it'll be, or whoever's watching, it's going to be in different areas of your life. But as I always say, the energy fundamentally remains the same. So the Seven of Swords is paired with the Seven of Pentacles. So here we have earth energy, which is the element which governs pentacles. Earthy, solid, stable, reliable energy, also sometimes stubborn and kind of rooted. And the Seven of Pentacles often represents in the tangible part of our life, the day-to-day concrete world we live in, things like money, finances, property, real estate, assets, job, etc., things we can see and touch and feel. You can apply the same energy to other areas of your life as well, and it could be about tangible results. So the Seven of Pentacles, like the number 7, is reflection, assessment, motives. It's a card about looking at what you've invested, what you have currently in a situation, what you've invested in it versus what you're getting from it, and asking yourself if it's worth continuing, if you need to try and change things, or if you just need to give up and go somewhere else. It's harvest time on this card, and this woman has planted the seeds, grown the tree, she's taken care of it, the harvest has come, it's time to pick the fruit. But before she begins, she's looking at it. What have I gotten versus what I put into it? Is this worth continuing? Should I make changes if I continue? Is it not enough? Did I get back what I put into it? Did I get back more? Did I get back less? What should I do? Should I continue the same crop or just go away and do something else, or just take what I can out of what I've put into this and go? It's a card of reflection and assessment. For some of you, this may be a very tangible, concrete situation. Maybe you have been stolen from in a tangible way, taken advantage of, or you found out that somebody's lying, or a situation has turned out differently than what you thought or what it was presented to be. And you're simply in a place where you're trying to figure out what to do about it. Basically, whether you should fish or cut bait, whether you should continue to, is this worth continuing to invest in? Is there a way to salvage, to fix, to gain anything else, or should I just leave? How do I bring balance to this? Because I feel like, okay, I'm just getting now for personal relationships too. There's somebody's in a relationship that's not healthy. It's codependent, whether it's love and romance, or I'm getting like for somebody, it's mother and son, a variety of different relationships. It's going to resonate differently, of course. And it's an unhealthy codependent relationship. And you're being taken from over and over again. And for some of you, you may be the one taking in this unhealthy relationship and taking as well. There could be drugs and alcohol involved, because the devil can sometimes represent those type of conventional addictions or just other forms of unhealthy relationships. Is this really worth considering to invest in? And I think a lot of you, some of you for whom this is more of a relationship, but it also could be job and career or something else. There's a sense of having been in it for quite some time, and almost feeling like staying out of a sense of moral obligation or duty or loyalty, whether that's familial loyalty or marital loyalty or employee loyalty. But it doesn't look like, it looks like there's a chance. You need to evaluate, I think, whether or not this is weighing out even for you. So we move next into the Six of Cups and the Six of Pentacles, and 6 being the number of things being equal, weighing out even, reciprocity. We have the Six of Cups. Cups is water. That's the element which governs the suit. And the Suit of Cups, the energy is watery. It's about that watery, emotional, mercurial world of our emotions, our emotional landscape, feelings, and relationships, all different kinds of relationships. So the story is going to split off a few different ways. For some of you, this card is about the past because it often has a strong link to the past. It can represent the long ago past, like childhood, Just thinking back to a time perhaps where you felt more childlike, free of the worries and cares and concerns you have today. It can represent travel back to the past, travel back to a link with the past, travel to see parents, relatives, roots of origin, where you grew up. It can represent that. And it can represent just the length of time that you've been investing in whatever this is, whether it's a specific relationship or a job or career path or even a spiritual path as well. And just kind of asking yourself, some of you, it may not be a specific, defined, detailed situation or relationship. It may just be that you found yourself at a crossroads point in your life, because I don't like saying midlife crisis or using those. I think they're too defining, too limiting. You may just be at a crossroads place in your life where you're just looking at everything you're doing, looking at everything you're giving, and wondering if it's worth continuing to invest in, or should you stay just because this is a course you've been on for a while and you feel your course is set. Some of you, the Six of Cups is about giving to other people and receiving to other people. And it's interesting because it's paired with the Six of Pentacles, which is also a card of reciprocity, equality, equal giving and receiving, mutual affection. And for relationships, this could be a relationship that you've been in and you feel a sense of, again, some of you, it's duty, moral obligation and duty just because of the length of time. Or for some of you, it's a familiar relationship. They're your sister, they're your brother, they're your aunt, they're your mother, they're your father, they're your son, your daughter, something. And you feel like there's a sense of having to be in there and continue giving because of that. And some of you, I'm going back to one of those first specific messages I've got. It represents, with the Six of Pentacles, which can be mutuality, giving and receiving. Some of you, why is this an interesting message? There's a family that is having difficulty, in dire straits. There may be drugs and alcohol involved. There's children there, and you've been watching it happen for a while. I don't know if it's somebody that you've had personal relationships with and you really care about them, or just a family that you've been watching for a while, and it's just gotten to the place you're trying to find a way to help them. And I'm getting to that for those of you for whom that resonates specifically, and it's so specific, I can't imagine it's more than just a small handful of that, but it's important enough for you to hear. You need to be, I'm getting this sense of at least initially trying to do it in an anonymous fashion, or you're trying to figure out a way to go about it anonymously. And I think you're kind of on the right track, particularly if it's helping them financially or monetarily, or even if it's getting other people involved. I feel like for whatever reason, universe is saying, at least initially, you not approach them directly, that you try to find some other way, more creative way of helping them, or perhaps of being an impetus to bring balance to the situation. Very interesting. Others of you, it's other different types of relationships. Some of you, this is job, work, and career as well. Now, here's a very specific message I got in the beginning too, which is may or may not resonate with not too many people. It's more of an ethical, spiritual sort of issue. There's an imbalance in a relationship. Someone has hurt you or deceived you, stolen from you, same sort of thing. Fundamentally, at the bottom is deception. You're considering what to do about it. The Six of Cups and the Six of Pentacles combination in this instance, and I know this is going to be easier said than done, and a lot of people would reject this out of hand, but it's actually about paying it forward in love rather than in vindication or revenge. There's a sense of, I'm getting this message of returning hate with love, or not responding in a way that this person who's hurt you or who's taken from you is expecting. There's some reason that for some reason you're supposed to react or act in with love and mercy and forgiveness. I know that's easier said than done. I mean, we live in a world and a time today where that is not a popular view held. I mean, kind of turning the other cheek or returning hate with love and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you only have to step out your front door or turn the news on to see that. But for some reason, there's somebody out there who's going to be watching this video that this resonates for. And for some reason, it's important that you return it with as much love, mercy, and forgiveness as you can, not doing what you could do or could justify doing. It's going to be important not only just for the message it gives you, but for this person's personal growth. It's going to make a pivotal difference in their life, or it's going to make something click, I think, for them. That's going to make a pivotal difference in their life and potentially change their life path. And that's as much as I'm getting, but that's pretty specific anyway. So very interesting. Different things for different people. I'm almost a little confused myself. So let's bring it all together with your overall energy, which we've kind of sort of done already. The devil, imbalance, the scales being out of whack with this situation. It's definitely time to bring things back into balance to the best of your ability. Some of you for whom you've been in this long-term whatever for some time, investing a lot, and you feel this sense that you have to keep doing it because of the ties that bind. I mean, I'm not here to really so much give advice or tell people what to do, but you may want to consider that you can be in a relationship with someone who's not in a healthy place in their life, but you have to draw very clearly defined boundaries. Otherwise, you become part of the problem. Not only do you risk the chance of being pulled in and becoming sick yourself, but you become part of the problem that they have by not drawing proper boundaries for both of you. So there's a sense of mutuality here as well to bring balance back. And some of you, it's going to simply be about you need to find the strength to say enough is enough. If there was a debt, it's paid. There's only so much I can do, and then I need to remove myself for my own sake. Let me take a look at the next few cards. Eight of Cups, which is leaving, walking away. Nine of Cups, happiness. For some of you, this may be a situation or a job or a path that you've been on simply just out of habit or because, again, duty, loyalty, obligation. But I feel like the debt is paid, enough is enough. And if the situation isn't changeable, fixable, and you can only do what you can do, and it's making you unhealthy, it's time for you to leave. It looks like it's creating unhealth, dishealth, and imbalance in your life. So it may be time to leave if that's the healthiest thing that you can do. So lots of different things going on here. Really, really interesting. Virgo, that pretty much wraps up your August 2017 mid-month reading. I hope that you've gotten some perhaps insight, clarity, a validation, food for thought, or at least it hasn't been too confusing. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, you haven't read with me before, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on the About or Description button, and there's a little more information. My email address is there, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks, Virgo, for the September 2017 general readings. And until then, as always, everybody enjoy the eclipse. It's happening on Monday. I'll only be able to see a little bit of it from Poland, but in the US, you should be able to see the entire lunar eclipse. So it should be pretty cool. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks, Virgo. As always, joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.